There's a weird irony in superhero comedy right now. You've got two characters, both written to be funny, both meant to break tension in their respective shows. Yet somehow, fans treat them like they came from two entirely different planets. On one side is Vigilante, Peacemaker's overly cheerful, psychopathic best friend who steals every scene with his cartoonish energy. On the other, there's She-Hulk, a character meant to be Marvel's female Deadpool, but instead became the poster child for everything wrong with MCU humor. So how did one become a fan favorite while the other one became a meme for all the wrong reasons? Let's break it down. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to Silver Screen Hero for more Marvel and DC breakdowns every week. When Peacemaker premiered in 2022, no one expected it to become one of DC's biggest wins in recent years. But it had everything: a strong story, sharp direction, great performances, and most importantly, amazing humor. Then came She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. It promised to be funny, fresh, and empowering, but ended up one of Marvel's biggest missed opportunities. Both shows tried mixing humor with heroism, featuring fourth wall breaks, satire, and meta jokes, but only one of them landed. Why? Because Vigilante's humor is built on contrast. He's an overly friendly, almost childlike man who just so happens to be a ruthless killer. One minute he's talking about friendship, the next he's taking down bad guys, always with a smile. His humor feels effortless because it's built from absurdity and innocence. He doesn't try to be funny, he just is. The world around him is so dark that his optimism feels alien, and that's what makes it hilarious. Gunn gets flack for doing this, but I think it's a time-honored practice and one that comic book writers have been doing forever. If you can breathe new life into a character and give them an actual fan base, I think it's okay to change them. She-Hulk's comedy, meanwhile, is built on commentary. Almost every scene revolves around men being the problem, online trolls, or how the world doesn't respect her. And while satire about sexism can work when it's clever, here it feels more like preaching. She-Hulk doesn't joke with the audience, she jokes at them. The humor often comes across as a lecture rather than a laugh. Vigilante makes you laugh with him, She-Hulk makes you feel like you're being talked down to. The biggest difference between these two shows isn't the acting, it's the intent. Peacemaker feels written out of love. James Gunn uses humor to expose pain and humanity. Every joke, no matter how wild, feels like it's written by someone who genuinely cares about the characters. Vigilante is Gunn's way of exploring someone who's detached from society, yet still pure at heart. He's loyal, ridiculous, and oddly genuine. She-Hulk, on the other hand, feels like it was written out of frustration, like a project made by a team that's tired and just wants to be done. Instead of building character through humor, it builds resentment. Scenes exist just to clap back at online critics or toxic fans. The jokes feel like they're coming from anger, not creativity. Jen was an incredibly unlikable, egotistical, entitled, and condescending character that didn't really evolve in any way, learn any lessons, or really had any arc to go through. And while there's plenty other beloved characters with all of these negative traits, they usually get their comeuppance, learn, grow, and at least try to change. Vigilante's comedy is built on love, She-Hulk's is built on spite. One makes you laugh, the other makes you cringe. Part of what makes Vigilante so entertaining is Gunn's signature balance of humor and violence. He takes something brutal, like a gunfight or decapitation, and makes it absurdly funny. When Vigilante hums to himself while fighting criminals, it's not meant to look cool. It's meant to highlight how insane he is. It's shocking, disturbing, and hysterical all at once. Now imagine She-Hulk trying that. It wouldn't land. Her humor exists inside an echo chamber of self-awareness. The show keeps telling you it's a comedy instead of just being funny. It was a comedy that wasn't especially funny in a courtroom show with awful courtroom scenes. I didn't hate it or anything, and it's certainly not the worst D+ show, but the flaws in it are pretty apparent in my opinion. Vigilante's violence adds to the humor. She-Hulk's humor feels like a shield for weak writing. Another reason Vigilante works is because he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He's weird, socially broken, and totally unaware of how crazy he sounds. When he says something stupid, it's funny because he doesn't know it's stupid. She-Hulk on the other hand, constantly seeks validation from the MCU and from you. Her fourth wall breaks don't invite us into the joke, they try to explain it. The thing is that fourth wall breaking should never be used this way. It should be evident, but they should never completely break the wall, otherwise it simply ruins any form of development or stakes, and for this kind of character, it hurts them a lot. When a show begs you to find it funny, it stops being comedy and starts feeling like PR. Vigilante doesn't need your approval. He's funny, whether you laugh or not. Let's look at the numbers. Peacemaker, 94% critic score, 89% audience score. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, 80% critic score, 32% audience score. The critics loved the message. The fans didn't like being talked down to. Personally, this show turned me off to the entire MCU going forward. Since watching this, I've struggled to think of a single show I enjoyed less than this, and I'm stumped. He was one of the reasons Season 1 was fun. Season 2 just hits different without enough Vigilante. Episodes 6 and 7 reminded me how much he lifts the show. If they're not going to give him growth, at least make him the funny sociopath like in Season 1. The nerdy bits in Season 2 just didn't hit the same. Vigilante's humor connects because it's authentic and chaotic. She-Hulk's fails because it's curated and combative. Every great comedy character fits an archetype. Vigilante is the fool. He shouldn't survive 5 minutes in the real world, but he does, through blind luck and optimism. He sings during chaos and turns violent scenes into slapstick gold. He works because he's not the main hero. His madness lifts the story around him. She-Hulk, however, is written as the victim. Even when she wins, she acts like she's losing. Her humor is built around grievance, not joy. It's more venting than comedy, and it alienates audiences who came for laughs. Despite having her name in the title, She-Hulk's story barely moves. She starts annoyed, ends annoyed, and learns nothing. Vigilante laughs at the world. She-Hulk complains about it. Freddie Stroma's performance as Vigilante is pitch perfect. He fully commits. Every line, movement, and expression drips with clueless enthusiasm. He embodies chaos. Tatiana Maslany, meanwhile, is a great actress trapped in a poorly written role. She tries to give She-Hulk charm and personality, but even the best actor can't fix bad direction and inconsistent writing. The real lesson here isn't just Vigilante versus She-Hulk. It's what modern superhero comedy gets wrong. Comedy isn't about telling your audience what to think. It's about letting them feel something unexpected. Vigilante's humor reveals truth through absurdity. She-Hulk's hides bitterness behind irony. Vigilante is chaotic good. She-Hulk is lawful smug. That's all for today. What do you think makes Vigilante such a better character than She-Hulk? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Silver Screen Hero, and check out the next video here.